it's so convenient, and it kind of does mean my period is over a little bit earlier. Hi everyone, it's Demi from Bright Girl Health here. I am a period educator in schools, and today we're going to talk about how to make your period shorter or how to make it end faster. I have a life-changing tip for you in this video, but to begin with, let's talk about how much blood we actually lose. So I have a shot glass here, I have a normal drinking glass sized cup, and I have a drink bottle with me. Now, I want you to guess, and you can leave your guess in the comments if you like, which of these three things, the shot glass, the normal sized cup, or the drink bottle, would you use to measure out your period blood from an entire period if you had it all in the one place? When I go and teach about periods in schools, most people say the drinking cup, and that's a good guess, but guess what? It's actually the shot glass. We don't actually lose as much blood on our period as what we might think. It's actually only about 2 to 4 tablespoons worth of blood. So if I had 2 tablespoons of water, it wouldn't even fill the shot glass all the way full. 3 tablespoons would fill it full, and then 4 tablespoons would be 1 shot glass plus a little bit. Now that is the average amount of blood loss, and it's important to acknowledge that not everybody loses the average amount of blood. Some people lose less and some people lose more, but we want to be in that sweet spot where we are losing 2 to 4 tablespoons worth of blood, because that is a sign of good health, a sign that our hormones are happy and our body is happy. Now usually we lose that amount of blood over a 4 to 7 day period. That is typical and that is ideal. It's not actually ideal to have a period that is shorter than 4 to 7 days. And it's not ideal to have a period that is longer than 7 days either, because then we can risk losing too much blood. So you really want to be in that sweet spot of 4 to 7 days. The tips in this video today are going to help you to fall within that 4 to 7 day period. I'm definitely not going to give anyone any kind of advice that is going to be like, oh, have a 1 day period, get it over and done with. No, because that's not healthy, and we want to be healthy. We want to have happy hormones. So before I jump into my 3 tips for making your period shorter, I want to acknowledge some of the reasons why you might have a long period, a period that is longer than 7 days. So first of all, it could be something like fibroids or polyps, which are growths in the uterus. These things can cause heavy bleeding or irregular bleeding or long period bleeds, and they're something that you would want to investigate if you did suspect them. Endometriosis and adenomyosis are also conditions that can cause us to have longer than average periods. Now, just because you have a long period doesn't mean that you have endometriosis or adenomyosis, but it's definitely a great idea to be working with a specialist, not just any doctor, but someone who knows about these conditions, who knows about hormones, and who understands our internal reproductive anatomy really, really well. And working with those people to rule out some of these other conditions that could be causing long period bleeds. That is, I guess, your first step, like rule out some of these conditions. A thyroid condition could also be something that leads to longer periods. So if our thyroid isn't functioning optimally, that can impact our period. So you can also investigate the thyroid and if it's working nicely. But just because you have long periods doesn't mean that you do have these conditions, but it's always good to rule them out. It could just be that you've got a hormone imbalance. And a lot of the times with certain hormone imbalances, it can be easily fixed, but you need to be working with a specialist so that they can give you the individualized care that you need for your body, because it is different to everybody else's body. And sometimes it can seem kind of scary to find out, oh, I have a fibroid or I have endometriosis. And you can kind of be hesitant to go to the doctor and seek help for those things. But everyone I've ever talked to who have those conditions, they always say it was such a relief when I found out, because it gave me an answer for why my periods were so irregular or long or heavy or painful, and I actually had a way forward. And in treating those things, your period naturally will shorten and hopefully be in that ideal 4 to 7 day area. So if you've got a really long period, once you've been to the specialist and you've ruled out these other conditions, here are 3 tips that you can use to shorten your period, to hopefully get it over and done with maybe half a day faster, maybe even a day faster. The first tip is creating a custom plan for you and your specific hormones with a specialist. Now, even if you don't have any of these conditions, like, I cannot stress enough how helpful it is to work with someone who is so knowledgeable when it comes to the menstrual cycle and menstrual cycle hormones. And rather than just guessing and Googling and YouTubing what might help your hormones become more balanced so that you can have that 4 to 7 day period, work with a specialist, someone who knows their stuff and can say, right, this is what you need to do, and give you the steps to achieve it. Because I promise you, even if it costs a little bit of extra money, you'll get results so much faster. I have a list of menstrual health specialists that I love over on my Instagram. But you can also search for some menstrual health specialists in your area, and it could be a naturopath, a homeopath, a functional medicine doctor, a Chinese medicine doctor, an endocrinologist. It could be a gynecologist. Find someone you feel comfortable with and who will listen to you and help you move forward to have your best period ever. So I'm saving my best tip, the 3rd tip, till last. But tip number 2 is to work on your hormone balance in your everyday life with sleep, stress management, nutrition, and exercise. So you're kind of getting 4 tips in this 1 tip. So first of all, let's talk about sleep. We need 7 to 10 hours of sleep each and every night, and honestly, we need good quality sleep while we are asleep, because we cannot have optimal hormone balance if we're sleep deprived. And if we don't have optimal hormone balance, we can't have that average length period. And so invest in your sleep. Try your best not to stay up super late watching Netflix or on your phone. Try to put screens away an hour before bed and try to have regular sleep-wake times. That's all going to help a lot. And golden standard is trying to be asleep before 10 p.m. And then there's exercise. If you can get your body moving every single day in some way, it doesn't have to be an intense workout. It could just be a walk around your neighborhood, but keep your body moving all throughout the month, because regular exercise can help a lot with hormone balance. Now, we don't want to be exercising too much for our body and our abilities. So if we are forcing ourselves to go at 300% every day and our body's screaming like, no, 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 that can be bad for our hormone balance. But moving our body in some form that's enjoyable can really help. The 3rd thing on that list was stress management. Stress can be one of our hormones' worst enemies. It can cause so many period issues. And so if you're highly stressed, working out a way for you that helps manage that stress and anxiety can really help with hormone imbalance. And then the 4th thing on that list was nutrition. Eating well. Eating well can mean different things to different people. But if you're investing in your health through nutrition, eating whole foods and trying to eat less of the kinds of foods that we know aren't so beneficial for our health. The foods we all know don't do us too much good, fast food, fried food, all of that. If we can limit those things and focus on fueling our body with good nutritious foods, that helps so much with hormone balance. And within that, eating more vegetables, and by eating more vegetables, eating more fiber is going to really, really help clear out extra estrogen in the body. And extra estrogen in the body can cause our periods to be heavier. So if we're getting rid of that extra estrogen and our periods become that little bit lighter, they might even last a little bit less long. And so if we're eating lots of fruits and veggies, lots of fiber, that can really help with our period and how heavy it is, and maybe even the length as well. Okay, my 3rd and final tip is to use a menstrual cup. Now you might be thinking, how does a menstrual cup shorten your period? Well, it doesn't change how much blood you lose at all. It can't impact how much blood we lose, but it can collect that blood more quickly. And by collecting it more quickly, you miss out on those days at the end, or maybe that half day where you're just spotting and you think it's over, so you don't wear a pad or a tampon, but then you go to the bathroom and you realize, oh, she's not over. That's the worst, because you end up ruining underwear. But when you're wearing a menstrual cup, what happens is that the blood goes from your cervix straight into the cup. And so the cup collects it immediately. When you're wearing a tampon, the blood gets absorbed by the tampon, and some blood may be left in the vaginal canal that the tampon is maybe too full to absorb. So you take the tampon out and there can still be some blood in the vaginal canal. Whereas with the menstrual cup, it's all in the cup. There's not very much, if any, left in the vaginal canal. And then with a pad, if you're wearing a pad or even period underwear, the blood has to make its way down the vaginal canal and out of the body. And so once it gets to the end of your period and it's quite light, it's flowing super slowly. And so you might have that day and a half, or maybe a half day at the end of your period where that blood is still just slowly trickling out, trying to leave the body. And so with a menstrual cup, you avoid all that. I noticed that my period, I could stop wearing my cup and just wear my regular underwear about a day earlier than if I wasn't wearing a cup, which for me, I was like, what is this wizardry? But it's so convenient, and it kind of does mean my period is over a little bit earlier. It doesn't mean I'm losing less blood. It just means that that blood is getting collected a whole lot quicker. And so if you wanted to learn about cups and how to use them, how to avoid leaks, how to avoid any pain or discomfort with them, and how to choose the right cup for you, and how to insert it and remove it, I have a whole series of 6 videos all about menstrual cups, so you can go and check those out, and I go through like lots of different troubleshooting things. So any question you have about a cup, you'll probably find it in that video series. That's it from me for today. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I'd love to hear if any of these tips have worked for you in the past, or if you try them out and they work, let me know. I'll see you in my next video. My book, The Bright Girl Guide, is available worldwide. It's all about you understanding your menstrual cycle and your hormones.